Hello everyone, this is part 4 of What If Naruto Was a One-of-a-Kind Genius, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
The world was a funny place. Today you were revered as a hero, and tomorrow the very same people spoke your name as if it were a curse. The same people who sang praises to you in the dreams now wished for the worst to happen to you. Naruto was almost amused by the situation in Konoha. The beloved Uchiha Itachi, a prodigy, the light of the famed clan, which had become an object of resentment from the hating minds of Konoha's villagers, had become one of the village's traitorous. Or so their ignorance led them to call him. Uchiha Itachi was now being spoken in the same sentence as that amoral Orochimaru. When they sent curses to the snake, they sent some to Itachi. He had betrayed them and turned into a diabolical power-hungry monster who would slaughter his own clansmen. At least that is what Konoha believed. It was ironic that the so-called light turned out to the dark side, as the villagers now believed. Itachi was supposed to be the savior of the Uchiha. Some were even tipping him for the mantle of Hokage once he grew old enough. Those dreams were crushed in just one night of bloodshed. The ridiculous thing that had amused Naruto was a reaction from Konoha's people to the tragedy that had fallen to the Uchiha clan. They cried for the Uchiha as if they had been on laughing terms with them. Uchiha Itachi was hated. They despised him for killing members of the Uchiha clan. They spoke so many curses about his name, and it had yet to be 24 hours after the killings took place. It was only the afternoon, with the villagers having discovered the tragedy early in the morning. Naruto had heard many people saying so many things. It made him laugh. In the inside, of course. Stones would be thrown at him if he suddenly started to laugh at this situation. A number of the Uchiha clan members had been murdered in cold blood. There was nothing funny about that. Yes, there was indeed nothing funny about it. Naruto may not care, but it wasn't funny. It was sad really. Yet, he could not sympathize with them. The second the situation was highly amusing. It wasn't the killings themselves that were amusing. He had yet to lose himself, or pass the barrier of insanity to be laughing at the deaths of other people. Yes, he may not care, he may not have offered nay sympathies, but he was still a person. What amused Naruto was the reaction of the villagers in relation to him. The ignorant fools suspected had the Uchiha clan for the Kyuubi rampage. They had gone as far as to show blatant distrust to the clan. They showed no love to it. It wasn't hidden to anyone. It was a reason that he could get along with the clan. Both were seen as reasons for the rampage by the Bayou sealed within him. The villagers had cried for the Uchiha. They acted like they had cared all along. Yes, they demanded for Itachi to be hunted down for murdering members of their most powerful clan. They cursed his name while crying tears for the clan. Tears. Tears of sadness for crying out loud. Was it just him who found it amusing, after everything Konoha had put the clan through? It was like if he suddenly died and they started crying for him, not of happiness, but of sadness that he had died. Sad that the beloved Uzumaki was dead. Ridiculous. It was beyond the realm of possibilities, yet something akin to it had occurred. Of course Naruto didn't delude himself to even think that they would cry for him if he died. Hell no. They would laugh and rejoice Monday to Friday. Hell, they would even honor the day he dies as the day of freedom. Yup, Naruto could really see that happening. Naruto shook his head, sitting inside the Sandaim's office. Perhaps he was losing it. He really needed to get in touch with his inner self and reevaluate his thoughts a bit more if he wanted to appear sane. He had appeared insane about an hour ago. It was the reason he was even here in this office with the Sandaime staring at him with a concerned look. Worried old man he was. Jiraiya appeared worried as well. Naruto didn't get what they were so worried about. He saw nothing unnatural in his actions earlier. It had been perfectly normal for him to act as he did. Again, perhaps he was losing it. What had happened was that while the villagers cursed Itachi and consoled the remaining members of the Uchiha clan, they had taken the knives and glared at him. They blamed him. They freaking blamed him for Itachi's actions. They thought he was the one who had manipulated the Uchiha. He was a demon after all. He had corrupted their prodigy. He had done it. Uzumaki Naruto, a 7-year-old, had manipulated a Mangekyo Sharingan wielder, an Anbu captain. And they were dead serious about it. Itachi had been friends with him. They knew. Since they couldn't understand it, their logical conclusion was that the big old demon was manipulating the Uchiha. If not, his vile nature had driven him insane. Yes, that explained why he would suddenly do something so outrageous. Hell, there was even a rumor flying around that the vile demon had manipulated Itachi to do what he did as revenge to the clan for manipulating it 7 years ago. That was crazy. These people were not rational at all. What was Naruto's reaction when he was confronted with this? He had laughed. Not just any laughter. A full-blown laughter. He'd rolled on the ground clutching his stomach as he laughed. He had even let loose of a few tears as he laughed. It had been a disturbing sight, as he heard someone whisper. His laughter hadn't been a happy one though. No, it was a disturbing laughter that would make Orochimaru wipe off a tear on his left eye. Perhaps he really was losing it. But he couldn't help himself. Their stupidity, blatant ignorance and foolishness had just reached a new low. How wrong could they be? He was to blame for everything. Everything. Next up, the rain won't be coming and they were going to blame him for it. The fools. He was the one who talked Itachi out of killing everyone. If it hadn't been for him, there would be no clan to speak of. But he had done it once again. Uzumaki Naruto had saved the day, yet they still blamed him for the bad. At least something good came out of all these. The Uchiha clan would be trusted once more. Yes, they would be. If Itachi had known all along that it would take for his clan to be trusted again was for such killings to occur, what would have done? Probably nothing. Itachi's goal wasn't to save the clan, but Konoha. Regardless, he would be smiling wherever he was. That thought made Naruto frown and he wanted to yell, "Cursed bastard." While Itachi made his dream come true, and his clan was becoming loved once again, his existence had taken another knock on the ground. This had done nothing but put deep holes in his hopes. Filthy humans. He was really growing to dislike the creatures that crawled inside this village. Perhaps they were not even human to begin with. Yes, Naruto wouldn't deny that possibility if someone said it may be true. How he wished there was someone who had the same thoughts as him. If things continued like this, he was going to lose it. What of his mother? Just the thought of his beloved mother, Naruto beat down all his disturbing thoughts. He couldn't afford to have his mother worried for him. She had to worry about herself. So lost in his thoughts, Naruto hadn't even realized the Sandaime was talking to him. By now, the old man was waving his right hand in front of his face with a frown, matched by Jiraiya. Naruto blinked 4 times. "You said something," Naruto said to the Sandaime. The old man cringed at the lack of emotion on the blonde's tone. It was way sharper than usual. Not a good sign. Perhaps Naruto needed to be taken to a Noiki just to check his mental stability. That laughter hadn't been normal at all. If anything, the Sandaime had really thought Naruto had lost it. Well, he couldn't fault the boy. He had been bottling up things for too long. Still, that reaction wasn't going to make him sleep good at night. He doubted he would even sleep at all. He had to take measures or else Naruto was going to be insane soon enough. That laughter had just reminded him of Orochimaru, his traitorous beloved student. Naruto was his student as well. He was very smart, and learned fast. He just lacked the people to call him a genius. Sasuke was called a genius, yet he was nowhere close to the blonde when it came to intelligence. "Why did you laugh, Naruto?" Hiruzen asked, his tone calm, with some emotions in it. "Why indeed," Naruto said, tilting his head to the right. He rested it on his right palm. He knew the answer, just taking his sweet time. "I guess I found the situation to be hilarious." "It wasn't funny, Naruto," the Sandaime said, "it came a bit hard than he intended." Fortunately, Naruto didn't seem to have noticed it, or he just ignored it. The Sandaime couldn't really tell. "Really?" Naruto gave the old man a look before adding. "They blame me for Minato's death. They said I killed him. Mind you, I was just a couple of hours old or even less when he died. Then they continue to call me a demon. Me, the son of the beloved hero. Next up, they blame me for Itachi's actions." Full-grown men and women, glaring down at a 7-year-old, accusing him of manipulating a prodigy, an Anbu captain. How is that not funny? Jiraiya swallowed. Naruto was way too calm. His tone was quiet and there was some nonchalance in it. It was just wrong. No one should be this calm and nonchalant about this issue in that manner. No one. Even he wouldn't be calm. He could question the villagers' behavior and their intelligence, but Naruto's reaction was just crazy. He could have understood it if the blonde had insulted or lunged at the villagers. Even if he killed someone in the process, Jiraiya would have understood. And he was sure even the Sandaime would have understood that it was inevitable. But to laugh like a madman. No one had expected it. Even the villagers had been left bewildered. Some of them had even turned away and walked away. That laughter sent chills to anyone who could think logically. Had Naruto's mental barriers finally broken? Jiraiya crushed that probability. No, not Minato's son. We have a serious mess to deal with. When other villagers hear of this, they will be tempted to act, the third Hokage said to Jiraiya, ignoring Naruto's question. You agree with me, Jiraiya, when I say even so, this is way more important for us. Jiraiya nodded. The Anbu can deal with that, and your advisors as well as clan heads can restore calm to the villagers. We don't want them burning Minato's house or getting any other funny ideas. It will be difficult though. The Sandaime sighed tiredly and looked at Naruto carefully. Naruto, he took a pause there, watching the blonde carefully, are you really okay? I'm fine, Naruto said, with a wave of his left hand. Or, are you asking me if I've lost it? The Sandaime breathed in slowly and then breathed out. His eyes shut for a moment before responding, yes, he said. I'm still sane, and the Kyuubi has not tainted me, Naruto said, his tone still sharp. However, I don't see humans down there. There is only trash. I wonder, would Minato still sacrifice me even if he knew this would happen? Both Jiraiya and the Sandaime tensed. Naruto chuckled, it was a bitter chuckle. Yes, he would do it again, and again, and again. Right until there is no life in me. What are we going to do, sensei? Jiraiya asked, his expression deadly serious. I'm willing to take them out of the village to keep them safe. He is not going to last if things continue like this. Naruto looked at Jiraiya. Oh, you watched Orochimaru lose his mind. You don't want to watch me fall into that line as well. How sweet. Perhaps mother was right when she said that despite your glaring failures, you are a kind person, the blonde said. But have no worries. It would take my mother's death for me to lose my mind. The fact that Naruto had said those words was even more disturbing. The Sandaime opened his left bottom drawer behind his desk, and took out a bottle. This was really needed. He opened it and halved its contents. Hiruzen looked at Naruto once more. They needed to move away from this subject. He would consider Jiraiya's option if things don't change. As loath as he may to admit, things wouldn't change any time soon. And he needed Naruto to be safe. Naruto, did Itachi say anything to you? Did you talk to him yesterday? No, Naruto lied so simply. He knew the Sandaime wanted to know if the Uchiha had told him about what he was going to do. The Sandaime knew Itachi would tell him. The man knew he was alike to the Uchiha in some ways. But if the old man was going to put on an act and pretend as if he was not sure about it, then Naruto was going to keep his mouth shut. Oh, the Sandaime said. Sasuke-kun is going to need a friend, can I trust you to be there for him? I don't know if his mother will be enough to keep him from falling. Naruto merely nodded. He closed his eyes for a moment. At least the Uchiha has secured its future. Konoha will no longer distrust them and in turn, the clan will grow those strings that were cut off and attach itself to the village once more. The dead can thank Uzumaki Naruto again. The Sandaime lit his pipe, while Jiraiya finished the Sandaime sake. That had been the bitter truth. Neither Jiraiya nor the Sandaime were willing to say it out, but it was the truth. How it sickened Jiraiya. I still can't believe that they would blame you though, Jiraiya said. I mean, even if I was high, I wouldn't go that far. They are looking for something to blame. Itachi was a kind person to them. He was the only Uchiha who didn't act like an Uchiha. He was their rising star. In just one night, everything changes, Naruto said to Jiraiya, without looking at him. The damaged brains can't understand why Itachi would act like that. Deep within, they want to believe that someone had manipulated him. Still, it doesn't give them the right to act the way they did to you. It's not fair, the Sandaime said, his tone laced with some disappointment. Life has never been fair to me, Naruto said with a shrug. Before anything could be further said, Kakashi appeared in the office in a swirl of leaves. The Jonin had left the village in the middle of the night with a number of Anbu after the reality in the Uchiha clan compound had been discovered. Going by the books, the Sandaime sent Anbu after Itachi. He had already spoken to the Uchiha by then, and knew the poor soul would be safe. Sending his Anbu was just a formality and just to avoid any suspicions of foul play. It would be disastrous if it came out that Itachi had been ordered to do what he did. The village's image would be shattered with the revelation. Despite the Jonin being masked, the Sandaime could very well see that Kakashi was really worn out. He must have been running for hours, he thought mildly. He felt bad for sending the man on a goose chase. He knew they wouldn't catch Itachi. But it had to be done. You really look worn out, Kakashi, the third said. Judging by your appearance, I can say you didn't succeed. Kakashi nodded. We covered most ground but couldn't find him. Even when we tried breaking formation to move one by one to cover more ground, we still didn't find him. But I still believe he is still in the Fire Country. Right, he was. Itachi was still in the Fire Country. Naturally, everyone would suspect that Itachi had committed treason and run off, far away from the fire borders. The Uchiha had anticipated that and didn't move far away. The plan was to stay in one safe place and move when it was safer. That was what the teenager had told him when he had offered to give him a head start. I'm sure you tried your best, the Sandaime said. Go rest. I will leave this to the hunter nins. By end today, Itachi will be in our bingo books as an S-ranked criminal. Kakashi nodded, but didn't leave. Even though he was a jutsu away from draining his last bit of chakra, he still had to know how Naruto was doing. He would even fall smiling if his body gave up while trying to ask the question. That is how much he cared for the blonde. How are you taking this, Naruto? Itachi was your friend, teacher as well, Kakashi said in a tired voice. The Uchiha had even trained Naruto more than he did, despite the fact that the teenager was always busy with Anbu and military police force matters. As I can, Naruto simply said. He was saved from explaining things further when his mother literally broke the Sandaime's door as he marched into the office. The woman rushed towards her son, and picked him from the chair like a baby. She put him down as she got to her knees. She had heard what had happened. And the moment she did, she'd rushed over here. Kushina engulfed Naruto into a tight motherly hug. Naruto did what he could, hug his mother back. Kushina had tears on her cheeks. She was crying as she held him. Naruto could feel it. I'm glad you're okay, she said softly. Naruto didn't say anything. He closed his eyes. It was okay to put on a sad smile. As long as it was on his mother's back. She wouldn't have to worry about anything because she couldn't see it. In a rare moment, Naruto's mask slipped in his mother's embrace. I'm fine, mother, Naruto finally said, his tone quiet, yet lacking the usual emotion it carried when his mother was involved. Kakashi walked up to Jiraiya. Did I miss something? He whispered. Jiraiya nodded and explained what had happened. Kakashi was disturbed, angry even, livid if we're just throwing words. He was getting enough of the village's tendencies. Their actions sickened him. If they drive Naruto to insanity, Kami-sama could forgive him. He would end up following Itachi in the bingo book. Giving one last look to mother and son, Kakashi disappeared before his thoughts became a reality. Sleep would do at this time. After a couple of moments, Kushina let go of Naruto, and stood up. She didn't let him away though. No, she still had her hands on his shoulders, keeping him in front of her. His heated glare fell on the third. Hiruzen, what are we going to do about this? Formalities be damned. My son can no longer take this crap. I cannot watch this continue to happen, Hiruzen. Kushina's tone was way sharper. Unlike her usual loud threatening self, it was calm, yet so sharp. It made the third tense as he chose his words carefully. The woman was on a brink. Saying anything that wouldn't make her happy would probably make her attack him or the villagers. In this stage, the Sandaime thought Naruto would join as well. I know, Kushina, the third said, his expression showing his old age. Once Mikoto-chan recovers from the hospital and make preparations for the memorial, you will go to Sunagakure for a week or two while I settle things here. If by then your return is not welcomed, you will leave the village with Jiraiya. I can cover you for 4 years at most. But by then, you will have to return. Kushina nodded. Let's go home, Naruto. She didn't say a word to Jiraiya or anything to the Sandaime. Simply took her son and left. The Sandaime leaned back to his chair. You get to make things right, Jiraiya. Do not waste this chance. I won't, sensei, Jiraiya said with a firm nod. This will be good for Naruto. Why did you say they will only leave with me if things haven't changed after they return from Sunagakure? You know there won't be any changes. While they are with you, they won't get the chance to visit sooner. They will have to stay hidden. Naruto is still Minato's son. Some people don't need proof to attack. A mere look and they will be convinced. This time I've set up, will allow Naruto and Kushina to further acquaint themselves with the Subaku family. I still believe there is a future there, the aged professor said. Jiraiya nodded. He didn't disagree with that. I'm going to get something to drink. If I stay here any longer, Danzo may show up. Knowing him, he will say something about Naruto that will tempt me to kill him. That said, Jiraiya disappeared in a puff of smoke. Ah, speak of the devil. Hiruzen, we have to talk, Danzo said as he entered the office with his two supporters, Koharu and Homura. There is nothing to talk about, Hiruzen said sternly. You have heard about Naruto-kun and have come here to demand that he be brought to your care. The answer is still no. Hiruzen, you and I know very well that the boy is unstable. That behavior earlier clearly shows that, Koharu said. He needs to be trained to control his emotions. What if he had lost himself and released the Kyuubi? Do you want to see this village destroyed? The Sandaime ignored Koharu. Danzo, you have plotted behind my back for the last time. I've allowed you to do as you please for long enough. One more move, and I will have you executed for treason. I know both of you were on it as well. Itachi told me. He also told me that you had ordered for the entire clan to be erased. What were you thinking? The Sandaime shouted, banging his hand on the table, forgetting about a thing called secrecy. The third calmed himself. Naruto will be leaving Konoha for a while with Jiraiya. You have nothing to worry about. Now, get out of my office, I want to do my job. You can't be serious, Hiruzen. The boy needs Danzo. Koharu shouted. Koharu, you went behind my back when you ordered for the Uchiha massacre. Luckily, Itachi chose to kill those who knew of the coup. We still have a clan now. The Sharingan won't be extinct, the Sandaime said lowly. You're not Hokage. You have no power ordering my shinobi. If I ever hear you are doing it again, I will have you locked up in a cell for usurping my authority. I assure of that. Danzo, if you make a move towards Naruto, I will make you regret it. The Sandaime said. Anbu, escort my advisors out of the Hokage tower. They must never set foot until I say otherwise, and get me someone to fix my door. Konoha Hospital. Naruto wandered along the busy hospital with his mother steadily on his right hand. Both were heading towards Mikoto's room. Not so surprisingly, the nurse didn't want to tell them where Mikoto rested. His mother had turned on the menace to get what she wanted. Whilst his mother threatened to rip the woman apart, Naruto had simply watched it all with a look of nonchalant. After what had just happened today, he could care less if his mother killed someone. In the days of the past, he was willing to stop her from killing the foolish villagers, but now he wasn't going to do any of that. He hadn't stopped her back then because he cared. No, he just didn't like his mother dirtying her hands by killing filth. But now he could say he wasn't worried about that. If she killed one of them, it was a happy day for him. Konoha would have one more filth removed. He reasoned letting them die was a service to Konoha. These people were vile creatures. They polluted the village with a spirit of ignorance, hatred and foolishness. The deaths would clean Konoha and make it a bit bearable for him and his mother. How could he complain over that? It is getting difficult to deal with them, huh? Kushina said to Naruto. She was also at her limit. She wasn't preaching the gospel at this time. Things needed to be reevaluated before she could preach again. At this stage, she was most concerned about Naruto's mental health above all things. Honestly, Kushina wasn't concerned about the state of the village. She was worried about her son and her friend. Above all things, Naruto stood. What would Minato do if he were here? Would things even be like this if he was alive? Perhaps not. Perhaps Naruto would still be hated while they hailed their Yondaime Hokage, the greatest hero. Kushina frowned at the thought. If only Minato had listened to her when she said it was better she reseal the Kyuubi inside of her. Naruto would have been living a normal life. She could be hated for all she cared, but as long as Naruto was able to live normally, she would have all reasons to smile. Now, she wasn't a matter. Her son was the menace to this village, or so the villagers believed. How it infuriated her. Still, she wasn't willing to give this village the middle finger. Mito had said the only way to conquer hatred was through love. She wasn't about to open her heart for this village to stab it all up. No, she believed as long as she continued to love her son and those close to her, she would rise above this hatred. They'd survived so far and were actually doing well. Naruto had been doing at the academy. He was finally adapting. He had learned to ignore the villages while focusing on the positives of this life. And this had to happen to screw it all up. Yes, it is, Naruto said, in agreement with his mother. But we survived the first wave. We will continue to survive even this one. As long as we continue to have each other. Kushina smiled, nodding as they rounded up on a corner. It is puzzling how things can change overnight. Everything changes overnight. That horrible night you were excited about giving birth, but that turned out to be a nightmare. After birth, I had explosives tags all over me, and you had to go through the extraction of the QB, which nearly cost you your life, Naruto said quietly, a bit sad. It was okay to show emotions, he was in the presence of his mother. Regardless of all these things happening, as long as I have you, I will always look forward to tomorrow. Once more again, Kushina smiled warmly at her son. At least he was back to his usual self. That incident had really shaken her. But she was happy that Naruto was back at being Naruto again. No lasting damage was done. Naturally, if there had been damage, she would have hunted down those who caused it and ripped their flesh apart with her chakra chains. As long as we have each other, Kushina muttered. But when you grow up into a handsome man, you're going to leave your poor mother alone and run away with a girl. Despite saying so, Kushina didn't see that happening. She wanted for it to happen. But Naruto was too clingy to leave her. Perhaps when he does grow, things will change. It had to. For his own happiness. Why do you think I would leave you, mother? Besides, at this age, do you think I should be hearing about running off with some girl? I don't even get that kind of love, Naruto said, giving his mother a sided look. Kushina shrugged. Though I hate to admit it, you don't talk like a 7-year-old, Naruto. You're all grown up while trapped in a little body. But I'm not saying you must start reading those perverted books your teachers read. I swear if I find you reading those things. Naruto gulped, nodded all too quickly. He may not have had the thought to read to those books, but if his mother said not to, he was going to nod as if he had the plan to read them. The books he read were fuinjutsu books and some elemental manipulation. He didn't have time for smut. I won't go that far, mother, Naruto said, as honestly as he could. I know you won't, Kushina said with a smile. He was all too focused on strengthening himself to be dragged into other things that could corrupt him. And he was too smart to be tricked into reading those books. Nothing further was said as the two finally made it to Mikoto's room. The black-haired was lying on her back, covered with white sheets, wide awake. Her broken son sitting just beside her, staring into nothing in particular with a dark look on his face. A look that shouldn't be on a 7-year-old. Naruto shouldn't be the one to say. Not after how he scared the villagers. The atmosphere was just gloomy. It was sad, really. Sasuke was once a happy child. It was often amusing to Kushina when she used to see him pout when his older brother would say he couldn't train with him. Or when he looked embarrassed when his mother treated him like the little boy he was in front of other people. What had happened to that happy Sasuke? He looked emotionally dead. From what she had heard, he had yet to say a word to anyone. He refused to speak to the Anbu, or anyone for that matter. His mother hadn't been strong enough to say anything. Both were just allowing the gloomy thoughts to consume them. In Sasuke's case, dark thoughts. Very, very dark thoughts. If one entered the young Uchiha's mind, they would run away fast without turning back. Despite this, Kushina smiled, and looked at her friend. She walked over and hugged the older woman, smiling sadly. I'm so happy that you're okay. I don't know what I would have done if you died too, the Uzumaki woman said all too honestly. Upon hearing this, Naruto gave himself a pat on the back. Uzumaki Naruto had saved the day once more again. He had done right ensuring that other members of the Uchiha clan lived. His threat had been no means a bluff. He had been dead serious. And now it pleased him to know that his forcefulness had brought upon this result. Uzumaki Kushina wasn't lost. She still had a friend. The two women continued to talk while Naruto kept his silence. It was better to allow he adults do their talking. Besides, Mikoto needed a friend right now. She needed someone to comfort her. Yes, he was that considerate, to Mikoto at least. Can you take Sasuke with you? I was told he hasn't eaten anything all day, and he can't stay here all night. He needs to rest, Mikoto said to Kushina after the Uzumaki had said her goodbyes. Sure, Kushina said. You once took care of my Naruto. Now it's my turn to look after your Sasuke, she added all too happily. Sasuke-kun, Kushina called warmly to the boy, but she was ignored. Sasuke-kun. Sasuke. The Uchiha didn't respond. It didn't seem like he had even registered any of her words. He merely stayed frozen, staring into the empty space with a dark look. Mikoto frowned, but said nothing, allowing Kushina to handle it. She was too emotionally tired to be stressing out now. Kushina touched Sasuke's right shoulder, trying to get his attention. Sasuke-kun. She flinched when the boy gave her a sharp look. It was as if he'd just said, "What?" in cold words. "You need to test. Come with me." Naruto frowned. Any more of this and he would snap the Uchiha's fingers to get him to behave properly when his mother was talking to him. Before his mother could flinch again, Naruto walked over to the boy. He did a quick chop at the back of his head and the Uchiha fell down. He didn't even attempt to catch the boy. He wasn't that considerate to a person who treated his mother in such fashion. Kushina merely shook her head at this, but she said nothing. She picked up the unconscious boy and placed him on her back before Naruto decided to drag him to their house by his feet. Oh, Kushina had no doubt Naruto would go that far. Kushina, Mikoto started quietly. Can I talk to Naruto for a moment? The Uzumaki looked at Naruto before nodding. Just don't take too long, she said, leaving the room. Come closer, Naruto, Mikoto said. Naruto did as told, and the woman held out her left hand. Naruto took it with his right. Thank you, Naruto. Naruto raised a curious brow at her thanks. He presumed Itachi told her the truth. But there was nothing to thank him for. He said what he said for his own selfish reason. What did I do to be thanked? Naruto still asked the question, despite his flow of thoughts. You saved my life and my clan. Sasuke will still grow up with a mother because of you. I will forever be grateful. If I had a daughter, I would give her to you, Mikoto chuckled, knowing Naruto wouldn't accept that offer. But I don't. I can only say thank you. If there is anything you want, anything at all, come to me. I owe you my life, so that will be the least I can do. Naruto shook his head. You know you don't need to thank me, Mikoto-san. He was cut off. My husband is dead. I'm widowed. Call me Mikoto, she said, sadness in her tone. I know why you did it. And I know things have turned worse for you. Regardless of your reasons, I was saved because of you. Fugaku was really shocked when he heard it. He said if there had been a ritual to make you an Uchiha by blood, he would order me to do it. Mikoto pulled Naruto closer, playing his right hand on her chest as she gave him a warm smile. No matter what people call you, don't listen to them. You, Uzumaki Naruto, are my hero. Naruto simply nodded in a speechless manner. Those were the words he never thought he would hear in his life. He'd heard her correctly. She called him her hero. He was in her heart. He, Uzumaki Naruto, was her hero. He had been recognized. The words may be coming from the mouth of the familiar Uchiha Mikoto, but those were the words that came from the heart. Those last two words reached a part of his heart that he didn't know existed. The feeling he felt was so confusing that he walked away without another word. Kushina's house. Everything was back to normal again. Naruto was home, eating dinner with his beloved mother. Well, it wasn't that normal because there was someone else with him, a someone who was quiet as a mute. Kushina looked up at Naruto. I never asked. Do you like the idea of traveling the elemental nations along with Jiraiya? You two don't get well. So if you don't want him, we can leave with Kakashi. Naruto shook his head. Jiraiya is just fine, he said. The Sannin would do. Between him and Kakashi, the Toad Sage had more experience and was a lot more powerful. Besides that, Kakashi was not that suited for this task. You mean to say Jiraiya is more useful? Kushina said. That is what his words sounded like. Sometimes I don't know whether I should be proud or sad, she mumbled to herself. I mean that in a nice way, Naruto said. Jiraiya is a Sannin. His reputation succeeds that of Kakashi. With him around, we won't have many people bothering us, and given that Jiraiya spends his time outside the village, he obviously knows the outside better than Kakashi. That was reasonable enough. But Kushina knew there was more, and Jiraiya is Konoha's main source of vital intel. This leads me to conclude that he has some sort of a spy network. While we are away, we can use his resources to find other Uzumaki who survived, Naruto explained. Kushina smiled. I like that idea. she said happily. All that happiness died when her eyes turned to Sasuke. He had yet to touch his food. He was just staring at it. She frowned. This was going to be difficult to deal with. Kushina moved closer to Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, eat up. If you don't eat up, you're just going to worry your mother. Please eat your food, Kushina said, in a warm, motherly tone. Sasuke ignored her. Sasuke-kun. He ignored her again. I know you're hurting, Sasuke. I understand, but you have to eat. Kushina tried to get his attention by placing her hand on his shoulder, but Sasuke batted it away, and snapped. You understand nothing. You don't get it. Don't pretend like you know what I'm feeling. He ushered a dark look at Kushina, his tone just chilling. And don't tell me what to do. You're not my mother. Naruto's look twisted and he got up from his chair. He grabbed Sasuke by the collar of his shirt, smiling at his mother warmly. Okar-san, he said sweetly. Please let me worry about him. Just finish up. Oh, and whatever you hear, don't come. That said, Naruto, literally, dragged Sasuke towards the kitchen. You ungrateful little, he threw Sasuke at the kitchen unit. The Uchiha grunted as he hit the unit with his back. Naruto's right hand grabbed a frying pan, and bam! The thing hit Sasuke on his forehead, causing blood to leak out. We have been through worse than you, Uchiha. Naruto slammed his right foot on the Uchiha's chest, pressing him against the unit. Who do you think you're talking to? Look at me. Naruto pressed, earning a dark look from the Uchiha, but he just tossed it aside. The frying pan was still on his right hand. Talk to my mother like that again, and I will break your fingers, one by one. To demonstrate he was dead serious, he took Sasuke's left hand, bended one of the fingers with so much force that it nearly snapped. Bruh. It was the third time Sasuke was letting out a pained sound. If you give her that look again, I will smack you with this thing again, Naruto said, glaring Uchiha. He let the boy go. Now, wipe that blood off your face and go apologize to my mother. I will be watching you. And eat your food or I will shove it down your throat. Naruto walked away, going back to the dining table. He settled down on his chair and continued as if nothing had happened. Do you think Tsunade will try to take the Senju possessions away from us if she does return to Konoha? Kushina gave Naruto a look, but before she could say anything, Sasuke crawled back to the dining table. I'm sorry, he merely said and sat down to eat his food, but not before sending Naruto a glare. Kushina just smiled. At least he was eating, she thought. She knew quite well Naruto hit the poor boy. Looking back at her son, Kushina responded to his question. Legally, once we claim it, Tsunade won't have any right. She has abandoned her village long ago. She has no say, Kushina said with a shrug. Naruto nodded. At least in the Senju compound we can have lots of space and I won't have to breathe the same air as the villagers, he said, a bit satisfied with that. Well, technically. I know, Naruto said. We will get lots of money as well. It is a pity we can't spend it as we like in this village, the blonde sighed. Well, I see what I can get in Sunagakure and as we travel. Kushina nodded. She smiled. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know when was the last time I walked away from this village walls freely. It will be good to get some fresh air. Yeah, Naruto frowned when he looked at Sasuke. Itachi had asked him to look after him. He should have said no. The spoiled brat was going to give him problems. We may have to take him with us, he added. Kushina actually nodded in agreement. He will need the time away as well. If is it clear his mind, he will have to get some fresh air, she said and looked at Naruto, unblinking. Please be nice, Naruto-kun. Sasuke is not like you. Naruto shrugged internally. At this stage, words won't do. Physical pain has to be inflicted for him to respond. Besides, do you think this world will wait for him to grow up? Sasuke only lost his father. Yet, he's acting like everything was taken away from him. Yup, they were talking as if the said Uchiha wasn't even in the room with them. Itachi was everything to him, Naruto. Sasuke adored his brother. After this, he has to be hurt, Kushina said. But Naruto wouldn't understand, so she didn't explain further. Seeing that the two had finished eating, Kushina spoke, go wash your hands, you two. I will do the dishes. Naruto, you know what to do. The blonde nodded. Come on, he said to Sasuke. The raven-haired just followed him in a quiet mode. Once everything was done, Naruto said goodnight to his mother and had Sasuke follow him to his room. Everything was already prepared. Both took off what needed to be taken off and went under the red sheets. This night is going to be long, Naruto thought, seeing that Sasuke was staring at the ceiling with that dark look of his. Sleep, Sasuke. You still have tomorrow to think. At this rate, you're going to cripple your mind, and you'll be prone to more outburst. Mind you, if those outbursts happen in front of my mother, I will break you. Naruto turned to the other side. And you know I can do it, right? It took a few moments, but Sasuke shut his eyes. When it came to his mother, Naruto didn't joke around. Even in his state, Sasuke was able to understand that. His earlier beating had been proof of it. The following day, Senju compound. With recent events, the academy had been closed. The Sandaime said it would be closed for at least 2 weeks. Naruto had no complaints. In fact, he couldn't have it any other way. If they suddenly decided that the academy wouldn't reopen until next year, he would gladly run around the village with a wide grin on his face, greeting everyone. Naturally, that was just wishful thinking. It would be a disaster for the academy to be closed for that long, and the Sandaime wouldn't make such a decision. The civilians and shinobi parents wouldn't like it either. Naruto could foresee a strike if such a decision was made. Everything was slow around the village. But within a week, things would calm a bit. The slowness didn't mean there wasn't a buzz of activity inside the walls of the village. The slowness was caused by the abundance of activities that needed to be fulfilled. Itachi had almost pleaded with him to look after Sasuke, and he was going to do that, in the best way he could. He didn't care if he had to break the Uchiha's legs in the process. Itachi didn't define how he should look after his little brother, and the older brother must know that between Sasuke and his mother, Naruto would always choose Uzumaki Kushina. Mikoto was only released this morning, and as far as he knew, she was burdened with clan matters. Perhaps he should help her out. Surely there were going to be some paperwork needed to be filled, and the funeral arrangements for the slain clan members. The memorial service for everyone was to be held in 2 days. It was an event that will surely have Konoha in full attendance. Naruto looked at Sasuke, his expression displaying no emotion as the cold eyes of the Uchiha stared back at him. They were in the training ground within the compound. He decided that since Sasuke wanted to release some pent-up stress, it was best to hit the training ground. He wasn't that much interested in dealing with the emotional problems with the boy, he just wanted him to loosen up so that he wasn't a bother to both their mothers. Mikoto told him something no one has ever told him. She told him he was her hero. Her savior. In Naruto's book, the woman deserved some sort of special treatment, and that meant looking out for her. Don't use ninjutsu, Naruto said, laying out the instructions. You can use kunai or shuriken, but no fireball. Do you understand those simple words, Sasuke? That was the response Naruto received from the young Uchiha. So tempting. Naruto was tempted to walk up to the Uchiha and smack him around. Wasn't a response. He wanted a clear answer, not a mere grunt. He held himself though. Physical punishment had its own limits. There would be a time a beating wouldn't suffice. So it was best to give the beatings in a situation that was dire. Naruto wasn't allowed to continue with his thoughts as Sasuke darted towards him in fury. The blonde frowned. Sasuke wasn't thinking straight. He was just charging head on, and he didn't doubt the Uchiha would mistakenly kill someone if he fought someone weaker in this state of mind. As Sasuke threw punches at him, Naruto just dodged them, moving back slightly. When the Uchiha turned to kicks, he blocked them, keeping his gaze firmly into the eyes of the raven-haired. With each dodge and block, Sasuke was growing frustrated. This was evidenced by the look on his face, and his strikes were becoming ferocious, vicious by the second. Around this time, Ino made an appearance, but she didn't say anything. She just settled at the back of the house, watching the two fight, her eyes firmly on Sasuke, even though she'd come here for Naruto. Worried about him. Sasuke threw a high-footed kick with his left foot, aimed at Naruto's shoulder. The kick was caught by Naruto's right hand. Moving shiftily, Naruto grabbed Sasuke by the throat and slammed him down the ground. His hands wanted to beat up the Uchiha. His feet wanted to crush him. But it was not worth it. Not when it would only serve to antagonize the Uchiha further. He really didn't want to deal with an Uchiha who was out to get him, and he certainly didn't want to make Sasuke an enemy. Your movements are sluggish, and you are leaving gaps in your attacks. You can't hit anyone when charging without thinking, Naruto said before hitting the Uchiha on the forehead, lightly. Your mind is clouded. If you want to train with me, clear your mind and don't leave your intentions so clear that even a blind man can see. Now go home, your mother is waiting for you. Not a word left Sasuke's mouth as he shot up. Looked as if he was considering hitting Naruto from behind, but he shrugged his shoulders and walked away. Ino smiled nervously as the Uchiha neared her. Hello, Sasuke-kun. How are you? Sasuke just walked past by her, not even bothering to look at her. As far as it seemed, the Uchiha didn't look like he had heard her. But Ino knew better. Sasuke had heard her. He just ignored her. She frowned. Welcome to the party, Naruto said, walking past the blonde. Ino followed him without saying a word. She was too engrossed in her thoughts to think of a reply. Her body just moved automatically. Ino became aware when Naruto closed the front door of his new house. He walked towards two trees that were in front of the house, and climbed up. Ino couldn't, so she sat down, her back pressed against the tree's trunk. Sasuke's become cold, Ino said sadly. I don't blame him though. He is going through a lot. It doesn't give him the right to ignore people though, Naruto said. His eyes looked down at the blonde. His treatment of you hasn't changed. Whether happy or cold, he still ignores you. That must sting. Ino frowned. It did sting. Naruto didn't care, just stating what he thought. He didn't understand what she felt for Sasuke. She didn't even think he knew where it stung. Shaking her head, Ino pressed down her thoughts to focus on the matter that brought her here. I overheard my father telling my mother about your episode. They said you lost your mind for a minute and that it was so serious the Sandaime considered taking you for a psychological evaluation, Ino said, her tone revealing her worries. So you came on to check if it was true that I lost my mind or not? Naruto asked. Yes, Ino didn't deny it, but I also came because I was worried about you. The Naruto I knew would have just walked away. You always have control over your emotions. So, when I heard that you were rolling on the ground in laughter, I thought perhaps you'd snapped. I'm fine, Naruto stressed the words. I merely laughed because I thought it was funny. No, he corrected himself with a shake of his head, it was funny and I couldn't help myself. It wasn't funny, Naruto. Ino nearly shouted. She calmed herself and repeated her words in a subdued tone. It wasn't funny. From where I was standing, it was amusing, Naruto said with a shrug of his shoulders. Perhaps I do have a twisted sense of humor. No you don't, Ino said, her tone hard. You hardly laugh at anything. I would have cried in that situation, not laugh. I don't think anyone in their right mind would laugh in that situation. So are you saying that I wasn't right in the head when I laughed? Are you suggesting that I momentarily lost my sanity? No, Ino said with a shake of her head. I'm not saying that. It is just that, no one behaves like that. So, we have to consider the possibilities. If I'd lost my mind, I would know, Naruto said, but then smiled, a bit sickly. Perhaps I did lose my mind for a moment. If so, what about it then? Ino shifted uncomfortably. I just came to see if you were okay, she said. Who will protect me if you lose your mind? Daddy, Naruto said. As much as you say I am a mama's boy, you are just as attached to your father as I am to my mother. So you can always call him when in trouble. Ha ha ha. Very funny, Naruto, Ino said. Is it true that you might go away? Yes, Naruto said. Just for a couple of years. We'll return before you even leave the academy. Oh, that was all Ino said before she fell silent. Uchiha compound. A sad plastered across Mikoto's face when Naruto walked into her house, that usual look of indifference on spread across his face. He was his usual self. At least nothing was bothering him. She thought the hostile situation within the village would get to him, but it was pleasing to know that he was okay. Still, that look of indifference could all be just a mask hiding the underlying problems that lay deep within the heart. Mikoto believed that Naruto was well capable of handling his emotions. In so many ways, he was like Itachi. He didn't need his parents to handle his emotional problems. He handled them by himself. Naruto was still young, he was just a cute little boy, but he could handle himself. Perhaps that little incident was good for him. Just to release some pent-up feelings. Hello Mikoto, Naruto greeted, with a wave of his right hand and a small smile spread across his face. Already at work. Ah, he remembered, Mikoto thought with a smile. Looking at the paperwork on the coffee table, Mikoto nodded. I have to arrange everything myself. There isn't anyone available to help me out. Where is your mother? In a meeting with the Sandaime, Naruto said, before he sat down on a sofa, just across the coffee table. She's finishing clan matters and making necessary arrangements for the visit to Sunagaku and our inevitable departure. Mikoto nodded, smiling sadly. It seems like we'll all be busy trying to rebuild our clans. The Uchiha's military power disappeared overnight. I have to shut down the military police force because of this, she sighed tiredly in the end. Itachi didn't spare any, huh? I guess it is to be expected, Naruto said. It is fascinating how the entire clan was able to rally behind the idea of a rebellion. I mean, the remaining members had stayed away from shinobi matters. So in battle, they were useless. Most of them were in the military police force. They were almost disliked as you were. Nobody really liked them. They didn't enjoy their time within the streets of Konoha. If there were 50 of you and were to sit down and discuss revenge on Konoha, wouldn't you all agree? Mikoto asked. Possibly, but there is never such a thing as perfect unity in the shinobi world. One may have a different idea, but only agree with the idea because it was objective of the majority, Naruto said. He tilted his head, studying Mikoto's features. I presume this was the same with you. Mikoto nodded with a sad smile. I never agreed to the idea of the coup because I knew of the consequences it would bring. The whole idea had so many things to consider. But I was just a wife of Fugaku. My thoughts were not relevant. I just had to accept the choices made, she said. Same with Itachi. Mikoto frowned slightly. Itachi. No matter, he was her son. She wasn't angry at him. It is sad, Naruto said. There are so many things that have occurred around you. Life-defining, yet you've never had a choice in anything. You've always had to take in everything and just accept them. Try to make the most in the situation. Mikoto chuckled, in a mixture of bitterness and sadness. You make it sound like I am this weak person, who just accepts everything that comes to life. Naruto smiled with a shake of his head. In your case, it is not about strength or weakness. We always like to believe that there is a choice in everything, but the truth is that, this world isn't pretty. Freedom allows for free choices. Without it, we're only forced to adapt to the things life presents before us. But of course, we always try to change everything. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we don't. Naruto paused for a moment to allow the words to sink in. It may sound bad saying this, but you've got your freedom now. Mikoto waved Naruto off. I know you mean well, she said. Leaning back to the sofa, she released a resigned sigh before looking fondly at Naruto. You've surprised me, she said. I guess I did, Naruto said. I don't know when I last had a conversation such as this. I may have been back when I was still a shinobi, Mikoto said. When I got married, had children, I was never afforded the opportunity. Naruto raised an eyebrow at Mikoto's words. Not even with Itachi. Not even with Itachi. Itachi spent more time with his father when he was younger. After the academy, it was his duty to Konoha and then Anbu, Mikoto said. I just tried to be a mother to my children. Now you have responsibilities not to Sasuke only, but to the clan as well. And you have me to talk to about these kind of things, Naruto said, managing a small smile. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.